Hello, this is Paul here with MemberPress, and we're going to show today how to connect PayPal to MemberPress. Only in this video we're going to use PayPal Sandbox. So I have a testing WordPress website here that I'm going to get a PayPal connection set up here with MemberPress. So I've already installed MemberPress, I've set up a few memberships, and I've set up an offline payment gateway. But what I need to do next is create a new payment gateway for PayPal. So I'm going to choose PayPal Standard, and I'm going to give it a name of Pay with PayPal. Okay, and we're going to check this Use PayPal Sandbox option here because we are not going to be using a live sandbox. We're going to use our we're not going to be using a live PayPal account. We're going to be using a Sandbox PayPal account. So we're going to go ahead and check that box. And the last thing I'm going to do is open a new tab. And I found PayPal Sandbox seems to work best when you're in an incognito window. For some reason, if you do it in the same browser session that you have your live account logged into, it can cause some conflicts with cookies and things. So I always open an incognito window. And you're going to want to go to developer.paypal.com and you'll log in. Now, you'll log in with your live PayPal account information right here. So I'm just going to quickly pause the video while I enter that information, and we'll resume once we've logged in. Okay, so it's logged me in now. And again, I'm at developer.paypal.com. And this is where you'll create your Sandbox accounts. So again, you log into PayPal Developer with your live PayPal account, and then you'll come over here to the Sandbox section, and you'll click on this Accounts subsection here. So I'm going to click on Accounts, and you can see I've created quite a few testing accounts over the years, but I'm going to go ahead and create some new ones for this video. So what you want to do is you want to click Create Account, and the first thing we want to do is create a business account. And this is what we're going to connect with our MemberPress in Sandbox mode. So we're going to go ahead and click Create. And now you can see it's added our new business testing account right here. And what we're going to want to do is click on View Edit Account. Okay, and we can see it's given us a temporary email address and a password that we can log in and manage this account with. So the best thing I found to do is to open a new tab and go to sandbox.paypal.com and go ahead and log in. And you do not want to log in with your live stuff here. You do want to log in with your Sandbox account credentials for that new business account that you've created. So I'm going to go ahead and log in, and I'll just use the username and password that they've given me here. Okay, and you can see the Sandbox accounts look fairly similar to a live PayPal account. You got your same menu options, and visually it looks very much the same. The only difference you'll notice is that in the URL up here at the top, it's sandbox.paypal.com rather than paypal.com. So again, we logged in here using the Sandbox email and Sandbox password that was generated here at developer.paypal.com. So the next thing we're going to want to do is click on this settings gear over here on the right, and we'll click Account Settings. And we're going to want to go down to this website payments section down here under Products and Services. And the first thing we're going to want to do is set up our API access. So we're going to click Update there. And we're going to scroll all the way down to the MVP SOAP section and click Manage API Credentials. Okay, and this is where you can get the username, password, and signature to copy into your MemberPress Sandbox setup. So we're going to copy this, and I'm going to go back to the MemberPress website, and I want to check this advanced mode box. So I'm going to go ahead and check that, and I want to copy in the username from PayPal. And I'm going to copy in the password. And lastly, I want to copy in the signature. And sometimes there can be like a period or something, a small character at the end here that can be hard to see. So just make sure you copy this entire signature so you don't run into any issues processing payments and that kind of thing from within MemberPress. So we're going to paste in that signature key. So now I'm set up with my API, and the last thing I need to do is just copy in the PayPal email address, which is going to be this one right here for our Sandbox business account. So I'm going to copy that, and we'll paste that here into MemberPress. And I'm going to go ahead and update the options now that we've copied everything into MemberPress that it needs. Okay, and now that we've configured the MemberPress side of things, now we need to copy a couple of things from MemberPress and paste those into PayPal. So the first thing I'm going to do is copy this IPN URL. We're going to go back to our Sandbox account. We're going to click the settings gear again and click down here to website payments again. And we're going to click update next to instant payment notifications. And what we want to do is click this yellow button here at the bottom that says choose IPN settings. Now if you've already configured an IPN for some other service, your page here may look a little bit different, but either way you'll want to just update your IPN settings. So I'm going to click this button and I'm going to paste in that IPN URL from MemberPress. So again, that was this top URL right here, the PayPal IPN URL. So I need to copy that. Now this is really important that you do not miss this step. If the IPN is not set up, your payments, or especially recurring payments, they're just not going to work. The customer will get billed at PayPal, you'll get paid, but nothing's going to track on the MemberPress side. So it's very important that we don't skip these steps here that I'm about to show you. So we copied the IPN URL, we've pasted it in here, and now we want to make sure that the IPN is enabled. So I'm going to just check that top radio box here, and we'll save. Okay, now our IPN is set up, so now PayPal is going to be able to communicate back to MemberPress and inform it when a payment completes, when it fails, if somebody cancels their automatic subscription. So this is kind of a really important communication lifeline between PayPal and MemberPress. So very important not to miss this step. Next, we're going to click our settings gear again, and we're going to go to account settings. We're going to go back to website payments. And the last thing we want to do is check update next to this website preferences section. Okay, and we're going to turn auto return here. Oh, looks like the page jumped around on me there. Where did it go? All right, auto return, we want to just turn that on, and we'll copy this return URL from MemberPress. So I'm going to copy that, and we'll just paste that in here in the return URL and click save. Next, we want to make sure payment data transfer is on, and we want to make sure that encrypted payments is off, and it's already off. It should be off by default, but if you've turned it on at some point in the past, you'll want to make sure that gets turned off. And the PayPal account optional, I usually leave that on. It's up to you. This will mean that for non-recurring payments, your members can purchase with a credit card without needing a PayPal account. If your subscriptions are recurring, this setting basically has no, doesn't really do anything. PayPal does require a PayPal account for recurring subscriptions. I believe the only way around that is with their ERB service, enhanced recurring billing, which I've heard from some customers may not be available anymore. So again, PayPal account optional seems to only work for non-recurring payments as far as I can tell. But I go ahead and leave that on. And these last two, you really don't need to do anything with. But that's it. So this page is completely configured. And now our MemberPress PayPal Sandbox connection is completely set up. So the last thing we want to do here is just run a quick payment test through it and make sure everything's working. So I'm going to show you what we're going to be looking for, and we'll make sure everything's working. But before we do that, we need to go back to our developer.paypal.com, and we're going to create one more Sandbox account. So I'm going to click this, and this time I want to create a personal account, and this is going to be my testing account that you can make test purchases with. So I'm going to go ahead and check this personal box. I'm going to click create, and now we have a personal account that we can test some payments with. So I'm going to go ahead and log out of the Sandbox account for my business user, and we're going to go ahead and sign up for, let's try the silver membership here. So I'm opening in an incognito window on the site so that I'm not logged in, and we'll run through this purchase as if we were a guest on our site. Okay, so our page is loaded here, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill out this form. And this form is really long, but you can see quite a few of these are not required currently. So I'm just going to skip the non-required fields here, and we'll go ahead and we'll say we were born in 1951. How about that? And we'll use a testing email here. Let's see, testpaypal1@gmail.com. And we'll put in a fake password here. And then we want to choose Pay with PayPal as our checkout option. And I'm going to go ahead and click Sign Up. You can see we're redirected here to PayPal. We're going to go ahead and log in. And we want to log in with our personal account, that testing purchase account that we've made. So I'm going to click View Edit so I can get the email and password for that testing purchaser account. And and you can see it's already got our old business account in here, but we want the personal one. So I'm going to log in with the personal, because our personal account is going to be basically paying our business account. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and continue and pay. We'll agree to it and subscribe. And after the purchase, if we've set everything up correctly, we should be redirected back to the MemberPress website within 10 seconds. And you can click the button to get there quicker, but we'll just wait it out here for a second. It looks like it's redirecting us back now. Okay, and it sent us to the thank you page, which I don't have any content set up for on my test site. That's why it looks blank. But you can see it did take us to the thank you page, and we're already logged in. So next we're going to go and just view the account page, which I need to set a link to in my menu here still. But if we go to account page, click subscriptions, we can see that the subscription is $25 a month. The next billing will be a month from now. However, our expiration is tomorrow, so it shows that there's clearly a problem, right? That it should be a month from today rather than getting billed tomorrow. The reason that's happening is MemberPress provides a short grace period while it waits for that IPN to come back from PayPal. So that can take anywhere from a few minutes up to a couple hours. But either way, the user is going to be able to access the site right away while that IPN is processing. And you'll notice our subscription number here is just a standard auto-generated subscription number from MemberPress. After we get our IPN from PayPal, this will update to a valid profile ID, which starts with an I, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. So I'm going to pause the video and we'll wait just a few minutes for that IPN to come in, and I'll show you what the account page will look like here once the IPN has come back from PayPal, just confirming that the payment has gone through and everything is complete. So I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, I refreshed the page. It looks like the IPN came through pretty quickly. Took maybe a couple of minutes is all. You can see that MP sub number has now been replaced with a valid PayPal profile ID. And you can see that our expiration date updated correctly to the following month. And our next billing shows correctly as the following month now as well. So everything looks good. We can click on the Payments tab. We can see the payment there from PayPal with a proper PayPal transaction ID. And so now let's look into our Sandbox business account. Whoops, not authorized.net, sandbox.paypal.com. There we go. Okay, so we're still logged in as the purchaser, so we need to log out. Now we're going to close this, and we want to log back in as our business Sandbox account. This is the account that is receiving the payments, and our personal account is the one creating the purchase. So I'm going to log in as our business user again. Okay, and if we look down here, we can see that our recurring payment was completed from our purchaser for $25. And if we click on that, we should see that the transaction number right here ends in 74T. And we want to make sure that matches here, and it does, 74T. So our payment is there. And now we can click this View Recurring Payment Details. And you can see right here we have that profile number, and it's IAAWP. And if we look back here, it is IAAWP. So we've got a good match. Everything's connected and working properly. And if you run into any problems, you waited maybe an hour or two and this information never got updated correctly, you may have a problem with your IPN settings. And so I would go back into your website preferences and just double check that the IPN is set up. And once you're on this page, you can actually click this IPN history link, and it will take you to a page where you can view all the IPNs that have been sent out, I think within the last 28 days. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one that has the transaction number, and we can see the IPN was sent to the proper MemberPress IPN URL, and it got a 200 response code, which means everything's okay. 200 is good. Anything that's not 200 is bad. So if you're struggling to get this information to update correctly, there's probably an issue with your IPN, and you'll want to just come in here to the history page, this history page, and check that it was sent to the right URL. You'll want to make sure that the ID here, this ID right here in the IPN URL, that it matches the same ID from the URL you copied in MemberPress. We've had instances where customers have deleted a PayPal account and then recreated it. And when you recreate it, you get a different ID. And so the URL is different, but they didn't catch that and forgot to update the IPN URL. And so lots of little things like that can kind of trip this up. Or you could run into issues where a firewall is blocking PayPal's IP addresses, and PayPal's getting like a 403 forbidden or some other kind of HTTP response code here. So those are some things to look for if you're running into IPN issues. And so the last thing I'll show you is just from the administrative side of MemberPress what this looks like. So here's our subscription. You can see from here we can pause it, we can cancel it, and we can also view the payments by clicking this View Transactions link. So I'm going to click on that. You can see our payment is there. It expires a month from now, which is when that next payment would come in if the customer does not cancel their subscription. So everything is set up and working correctly. And if you guys run into any other issues, please feel free to reach out to our support. The last thing I'll mention here is if you need to move to, not if, but when you move to your live PayPal account, you'll basically go through all these steps again. And we have a video under setting up the PayPal section that goes through all that. But really, you're just doing these exact same steps, but from paypal.com rather than sandbox.paypal.com. So you'll put in your live PayPal email address, you'll put in your live API username, your live password, and your live signature. And once you've done that, once you've updated these to the live mode, you want to make sure you uncheck the Sandbox option, and then save. And then be sure to copy your IPN URL and your return URL into your live PayPal account as well, just to make sure that all that is working properly. Now, one side note, once you have switched this to live mode, you can no longer pause or cancel or track payments from those developer accounts, or from those Sandbox accounts, excuse me. Yeah, once you've switched to live mode, your Sandbox subscriptions will probably stop working, and that's to be expected. But hopefully this is helpful and can get you guys testing with PayPal without having to use any real money, just to make sure your site's working the way you expect it to be. So again, if you have any questions, please reach out to our support, and I hope this video was helpful.